Welcome to the Brigham Young University Family History Library webinar series. My name is Braden Knutson. I'll be your host for this webinar today. We'd like to ask you to answer a couple of the polls that we have down at the bottom of the screen. How did you hear about our webinar today? And what topics would you be interested in hearing about next month? We're always looking for suggestions, so that would be great. And our next webinar will be on Tuesday, June 13th at 3 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, titled Beginning Scottish Research, and that will be by James Tanner, so we hope you can join us again for that one. Today we'll be pleased to hear from Bob Taylor, who will be giving a presentation titled LDS Topics in the Family History Guide. Bob Taylor, CEO of the Family History Guide L3C, has been actively doing family history for over 25 years. He has combined his passion for genealogy with his background in instructional design to produce a new learning resource for family history, the Family History Guide. Bob earned his bachelor's degree from Brigham Young University and master's degree from California State University, Los Angeles, both in music education. He has been a featured presenter at RootsTech 2016, UV Tag, and the BYU Family History Conference, in addition to numerous family history fairs in Utah. A career change led him to instructional design and technical writing, where he has worked for large technology corporations such as Novell, Intel, and Western Digital. At Intel University, he redesigned key training courses for employees and managers worldwide, as well as teaching management courses in Washington, Arizona, Oregon, California, and Utah. He has authored many online and written learning systems, helping others accelerate learning in technology, music, and family history. Bob and his wife Susie have 5 daughters and 6 grandchildren. So we will turn the time over to Bob, and as he's getting his presentation pulled up, we remind you that we do have a comments box on the right-hand side and a questions box as well. If you have any questions, please write those in. We'll make sure that we get all of those answered by the end of the presentation. And we will turn the time over to Bob now.
Okay, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this webinar. This is LDS Topics in the Family History Guide. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm LDS. I have a wonderful love of family history and temple work and testimony of it. I currently serve as High Priest Group Leader in our ward, so I get to help motivate others and be responsible for the work, particularly in our ward. So here's what we will cover in the webinar this evening. FamilySearch and LDS connections to the Family History Guide. The LDS page on the Family History Guide. Temple and Family History Consultants and how they can use the resources here. Family History Reporting. And the Family History Guide as a missionary tool. So let's start off with FamilySearch and LDS connections. This is taken from the Frequently Asked Questions page on the Family History Guide website. Is this, meaning the Family History Guide, an LDS Church-sponsored site? And the answer is no, the site is not sponsored by FamilySearch or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's endorsed by FamilySearch, and we have it as recommended training on LDS.org. So that brings up an interesting question about a balancing act. The Family History Guide needs to represent the interests of the LDS community while not turning the Family History Guide into an LDS specific site. What you may not be aware of is that originally the Family History Guide was named something else. It was called the 30-Minute Mission. And the idea there was to help Latter-day Saints get engaged 30 minutes a week on family history. And I was pretty excited about that. But as I came to realize that the scope of the 30-minute mission should really be beyond LDS only, it should go out to the world, having the term mission in it might be a little off-putting or unfamiliar to those who are not of the LDS faith. So we changed the name to the Family History Guide, and it was probably a good thing because we have a lot of non-LDS users of the site. We have Currently, we have users in over 150 countries around the world. And the LDS page, which we will investigate during this webinar on the Family History Guide, is not one of the main projects. So we have 9 projects, 1 through 9. The LDS page is not one of those, although it does have goals, projects, choices, steps, and so forth. It has its own location that I'll show you in the miscellaneous menu. So that's what we're trying to do, is make the site appealing to LDS and non-LDS enthusiasts of family history. Mission statement. We want to greatly increase the number of people actively involved in family history worldwide and to make everyone's family history journey easier, more efficient, and more enjoyable. I call those the 3 E's: easier, efficient, and enjoyable. And when I first shared this mission statement as we were getting the company organized with a few people, sometimes I would get some rather quizzical looks or maybe a little rolling of the eyebrows, like, oh yeah, you're going to take this worldwide, you're really going to make a difference. It sounded kind of like a pie in the sky thing, I suppose, to a few people. Now as the Family History Guide has grown, we've seen it actually go out to the world, and it is doing exactly what we had imagined it. Even though it's a somewhat smaller scope now, we hope that it will greatly increase the number of people actively involved in family history. So a brief history of how we got from point A to point B. In the Innovator Showdown, we were entered, the Family History Guide, in RootsTech 2016. We competed with a number of different technologies, products, and so forth. We were a semi-finalist, and I presented the Family History Guide at the Innovator Showdown in 2016. And long story short, we didn't advance to the final round. I think the judges were pretty concerned when they asked me about how are we going to make money with this, and I said, well, we're hoping to get a lot of donations. That kind of didn't go over too well as far as a commercial money-making venture. So after the presentation, I felt a little bit let down, but immediately my spirits picked back up because Diane Loosely, who's one of the senior vice presidents of FamilySearch, came up to me and said, we need to sit down and talk about a partnership between the Family History Guide and FamilySearch and how we can perhaps benefit each other. And I thought, well, there you go. That to me was more success than if we had won $10,000 or $20,000. And more about that coming up. So one thing led to another. We entered into some discussions with FamilySearch. They realized that we had basically built a front end for FamilySearch that provided instructional design, goals, training, and so forth that they had not yet been able to get to. And so they figured it was probably easier to just partner with that rather than develop an equivalent themselves. So they added a link to the Family History Guide in the FamilySearch portal. Now the portal is available on all of the family history centers throughout the world. There's free access to premium subscription sites and so forth. But what you'll see here is that we were added right on the kind of, I like to call it the prime real estate spot, so that we are visible in all 5,000 family history centers around the world. They can easily access our website. Meetings with FamilySearch were ongoing and productive, and we even met with one of the members of the First Quorum of the 70, and the bottom line there was that they encouraged us to make something good happen. And I took that as a personal boost, a personal challenge, and a motivation that the Family History Guide had a very important mission to fulfill, even if we didn't use the word mission on the website. We did have a very important work to do. And so along with that, FamilySearch has been very helpful and cooperative, and we've been able to accomplish some great things. And the next thing I'm showing here, you may wonder, why am I showing a picture of a seminary building? This is actually the Sandy Granite Family History Center. And this is the building where we had a representative from Church Publications come down and meet with us. And bless his heart, he went through every line in the Family History Guide. Now, if some of you may have spent some time pouring through the Family History Guide website, there is a lot of content there. And what he did was he went through every line to make sure, A, that it was appropriate to be approved by FamilySearch, and B, that all of the language and wording and so forth followed the style guide that the church and FamilySearch use in their publications. So he and I hit it off pretty well because we're both writers and designers from way back. So anyway, it was a fairly smooth operation, and they were able to get the approval, and so that we could have a link placed on LDS.org. Speaking of which, this is a quote from the LDS.org page, that they are partnering with third parties. And this was a bit of a pioneering effort, breaking some new ground, because FamilySearch had not really done much of this before. So it took some involvement with legal and this type of thing, and especially church publications, to make sure everything was in order. And there we have it. The partner is Family History Guide. And you can see that it's in a technical training spot. We're not exactly thrilled about the technical training verbiage, because it makes it sound like it's a little bit difficult, challenging, and so forth. So we've notified FamilySearch, and they're going to be working on an alternate name for the link, and maybe a different place to have our content. But for now, it's great because you can find us on LDS.org in the family history training, consulting page, my calling, so forth. Okay, with that, we're going to exit out of the PowerPoint demonstration I'm showing you now, and we'll take a look at the LDS page on the Family History Guide website. So I have this right behind here. So here's the home page. In case you haven't seen this picture, we're starting a rotation program. We rotate the pictures each week with a different theme. So if you want to find the LDS page, you would go over to the miscellaneous menu, and down at the bottom, click LDS. So here are the goals up at the top. So we'll start with the first one here. And I won't go through all of these in great detail. Some of you have seen these before, but I'll basically explain what they're for, and some of the ones towards the end we'll spend a little bit more time on. So first of all, learn the FamilySearch icons policies for temple ordinances. Number 2, find temple opportunities or green icon ancestors and reserve their name for ordinances. Just by way of explanation, as you probably know, you can go through FamilySearch and find what we call green temple icons. You can also use other programs to find temple opportunities in a more automated way. The stance that we take on that is that we do encourage these types of activities, but we want to balance them with some responsible fact-checking and verification. So we don't take the approach that you can't or shouldn't submit anything unless it's been checked 100 times and there's absolutely no room for doubt. On the other hand, we don't want to take the approach of, hey, as soon as you find a name, just submit it and there you go. So we feel that it's important to do some reasonable fact-checking, verification, and so forth, so that we're not submitting duplicate entries for temple work or entries for people that didn't exist, and so forth. Here's the italics that explains that. Identify descendancy lines with relatives, and this kind of crosses over into project number 3, descendants. So you'll find some of these duplicated in that project. Number 4, use other resources to search for ancestors. So this is what I was just talking about. There's some pretty handy programs like Find a Record and Hope Chest and others, Pozilla, that help you gather names. Basically, these programs will walk through your family tree in FamilySearch and find possibilities of ordinances that you can prepare and take to the temple. And I like the word possibilities because they are not guarantees. They should not be looked at as um, guaranteed temple work submissions. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, so I'll pause here. An interesting story I just want to share. For Hope Chest, our COO, Bob Ives, had an experience where he was attending a class and the instructor was sharing, was teaching a beginning class in family history. Part of it was going to be on Hope Chest and how you could use that Chrome extension and so forth. She seemed to be having a little bit of trouble getting the points across. And so Bob Ives quickly did a search in the Family History Guide and found out that the Hope Chest extension is explained in the LDS project. And so he found it and found where it was located, suggested to the instructor that she could just teach right out of the Family History Guide. They ended up doing that and watching a video about the Google Chrome browser extension for Hope Chest, and everything went pretty well. So that was kind of an interesting practical application of the Family History Guide. Sometimes we feel like we have to reinvent the wheel, but there's plenty in the Family History Guide, especially if you explore it, that can help you take care of training responsibilities pretty well. Arrange for names to be printed. Manage your list of reserved ordinances. Get inspiration for your family history journey. So a little bit about this. We've got family history quotes, and we have family history articles. All of these are links, and family history videos. Between these three sections here, you can provide some really good inspiration and material for whatever family history opportunity you're looking at. For instance, if you need to work with young men and young women, even primary, Relief Society, priesthood quorums, stake callings, these are good materials to pull up. They've obviously church approved and inspirational, or you can be used by individuals just to give us some extra incentive and motivation for the family history work that we're doing. Goal number 8, using Find, Take, and Teach. And one thing to clarify here is that the Family History Guide is not trying to substitute a different program for Find, Take, and Teach. What we're doing here is we're simply making people aware of Find, Take, and Teach, and we're providing some suggestions that can increase and accelerate their success with it. The official video is here, and I'm going to clear that. And this video from Rexford Family History Center actually adds a little bit of color and flavor of things you can do with the Find, Take, and Teach program. So one of the things about Find, Take, and Teach is they use mostly descendancy research to find a name and be able to clear it for taking to the temple. So what we've done is we've filled in a few of the gaps there. As you know, in the Family History Guide, we provide really coherent, quick, easy ways to get involved with research, both descendancy and ancestral research. So we fill in a few of the gaps there of how a person can get involved with Find, not necessarily just with the focus of doing the particular descendancy research that's noted in the church approach. Here's the take step, very similar. And the teach step, we've got a lot of interesting resources here in the training section of the website that can be used for teaching others, and some of you have used those yourselves. Goal number 9, design family home evening and other activities around family history with the Family History Guide. You can examine goals, use some of the basic ones in projects 1, 2, or 3. And if you have younger children, there's a children's page. I'll just quickly go up here and show you under the miscellaneous menu. There's a children's page that has a wealth of really fun, interesting activities for young children to get involved with family history. So you can help them without having to do a lot of time or spend a lot of time designing your own curriculum. Inspirational stories and quotes. Other family history related activities. Here are some items from the FamilySearch app gallery. And I might point out this Facebook page, Ideas for Family History Fun, is really a nice one. It's got a lot of terrific ideas for involving a family in family history activity and enjoying it, having fun with it. This is courtesy of Angela Anderson, who's a member of our Facebook group for trainers and directors of the Family History Guide. So shout out to her. Okay, so we are going to go back to, I'm going to have to scroll down here because it didn't take my page for some reason. So a quick review, very quick review. There we go. Temple and Family History Consultants. So now we're going to take a look at the Training for Consultants page on the Family History Guide. So if we go up here to the training menu at the top, we go down to Consultants, click that. Here we see how to get started with being a family history consultant, the goals that you're going after, how to set up classes and activities and so forth, step by step, how to deliver training after a course or training, how to evaluate whether it was a success, and so forth. So these are not meant to compete with the church's family history training. So you notice up here at the top, we have the LDS Consultant Planner, and I will click that link and go down to that now. So most of you may know that the FamilySearch has come out with a consultant planner, which has been very helpful to help consultants meet with individuals and plan out what they need to do and make progress and so forth. With the Family History Guide, we saw that as a natural opportunity to fill in some gaps. So instead of sitting down with a blank sheet, for example, and figuring out which types of goals you want to plan out with the family, basically you can discover the goals and you can look through the goals that exist in the Family History Guide. So chances are there will be some great intersection and common ground there between what the Family History Guide has to offer and what the particular families or individuals are needing with their own family history goals. So basically these steps here are kind of, you think of them as filling in the gaps, the glue in between the different parts of the family history consultant planner. And indexing for consultants, we've redone the Project 5 indexing, so now it's focused on web indexing. So it makes a natural base. We have step-by-step instructions. We even have a PDF that captures all of that you're free to use. So that's a powerful tool for helping consultants as well. Okay. So family history reporting is the next thing we want to talk about. So some of you may be familiar with the online tracker. We have tracking tools. They traditionally have been with Microsoft Word, where you'll download a Word document and you'll be able to keep track of the different items that you're learning. All the goals and choices of the Family History Guide are captured in these tracking documents, so you can measure how well you're doing and so forth. But recently we've created an online tracking tool. And we now have over 500 accounts created. You can create a login to access the online tracker. The Family History Guide, as you know, is a free tool, and we don't require any logins, except if you're going to use the online tracker, then you will need to create a login so that you can have access to our database of information, and we can track all of your progress online and store it for you. Basically, you'll be tracking your progress in goals and choices by moving slider bars from low to high, adding notes as you want, and whenever you leave and go to a different screen, your updates are automatically saved, so you don't have to save them yourself. This is assuming that you have JavaScript installed, which most people, or Java rather, installed, which most people do. If you don't, we've also included a save button that you can click to take care of that. Here's a sample. I just created this myself on my account. So you'll see the choices here on the left. And this is a goal, one, navigate family tree. Here are the different choices, 4 of them anyway. And notes, I typed in these notes kind of to remind myself where I'm at and what I've been doing. And as I moved these slider bars over, they changed from not started to good to proficient. And of course, these are just practice entries but the date is recorded of whenever you made the last update to that. So you can tell that using the online tracker helps you keep a really detailed log of exactly what you've accomplished, where you rate yourself, and so forth. And if you're curious about the status, how do I know if I'm good or proficient? We do have exercises in the Family History Guide that help you measure and be able to look and see if you are actually achieving certain levels of competence with the guide. Reporting strategy. So the next thing that we are working on is being able to run reports against the online database. This will help you see your progress over time with your goals and choices. You can save or print the reports. And like I mentioned, these are in development. Where it really gets exciting is with reporting strategy for groups. So you will be able to create some groups for collecting report information. So imagine that you are a family history consultant, lead consultant in a ward, or maybe have a stake responsibility with family history. You could create groups by capturing email addresses of people who agree to be in groups, and you can run collective reports. You manage their permissions, notifications, and so forth. You can run reports at a ward, stake, or family history center level. All of these are based on the groups that you create. They're not connected to the church or to FamilySearch or any other existing database. They're simply captured by the group of emails that you have collected, and you have permission to run from others. But what this does is it gives you the opportunity to see the progress of family history skills and learning in your area. This is pretty exciting because to this point, the church can capture indexing statistics and can capture number of ordinances submitted and so forth. But that's pretty much all that we have access to. And so what we're doing here is we're providing leaders or peers or friends the opportunity to run reports and see progress with actual skills. For example, how many people in my ward actually have logged in to FamilySearch and know how to do that? How many people can pull up a fan chart? How many people know how to use Find a Record or know how to manage their list of temple ordinance submissions and so on and so forth. So you can get a pretty detailed picture there. We think that's pretty exciting. Here's a sample report. This is not how it will look finished, but basically just to walk you through this, this is a group summary report for Project 1. There are 54 choices in Project 1, and this particular report assumes that there have been 6 users. So 6 times 54 choices is 324 choices. So those are the data points you have, 324. So as a sample, in week one, you've got maybe over 200 people that have made no progress. They've not started on any goals in project one. Next, and then you can see the blue bar going down. And as you get to maybe 4 weeks into this, into your progress in training these people and working with them, the number of goals or choices that are marked as 0 or not started drops down pretty low. The number of choices that are started or good or proficient, all of those bars are rising, which is what you would want to see. So there will be different ways to do that, different pie charts, bar charts, lots of different angles and strategies with custom reporting. But that's just one way that you can take a look inside your area of responsibility and see the actual progress of what's going on with family history related skills as coordinated by the Family History Guide. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about is the Family History Guide as a missionary tool. So the values that we share with non-members is family, unity, and love, connection to ancestors and the past, and worldwide heritage. These are pretty much universal values that everybody in the world would be interested in. What are the gospel connections to those values? For family, unity, and love, we think of family home evening and temple blessings. For connecting to our ancestors in the past, of course, there's family history involvement. And for worldwide heritage, there's nothing better than the plan of salvation. So those of you that have had missionary experiences and enjoy those opportunities and those moments, probably these are three of the easiest and best ways to connect with people in a missionary sense. So how does the Family History Guide help with a missionary approach? You can share stories about ancestors, your cultural heritage and roots, progress and challenges with research, and the Family History Guide is a tool to get people started or accelerate their progress. So as you're participating in sharing stories and talking about their roots and their background and maybe the difficulties that they've had, keep an eye out to the Family History Guide as a tool and a way that you can break down some of those barriers and accelerate the progress. When you're pointing someone to the Family History Guide for the first time and getting them interested in what it can do, you want to run them through the navigation menus at the top of the screen. Remember, those are the ones that I use to show different parts of the Family History Guide during this webinar. The Quick Start on the home page, that is kind of like a summary area that takes you through some easy to recognize and easy to do activities. The FAQs in the intro section, and quotes if they want to see what other people have been saying about the Family History Guide. Computer basics if they need that. A short overview of Project 1. You could go into Project 1 and just kind of review what it's for and how they can get started with it. And one of the best strategies for the Family History Guide is 15 to 30 minutes at a time on a consistent basis. Even if it's once or twice a week, the Family History Guide is built so you can get in, learn and enjoy it, and get out. And then at another time, get back in again, have 15 to 30 minutes of success, get back out, and you know where you've been, what you've done, what you're going to do next. That's a very powerful thing. One of the problems or challenges that a lot of people have is that they think that they need to get into family history and it is going to be all-consuming, and they're not going to have a life, and it's going to be pretty overwhelming. But the Family History Guide helps them realize that they can learn and do 15 to 30 minutes at a time. Spreading the Family History Guide. Hopefully you've all seen the media page. It says videos and brochures. You can self-print brochures or order them from the Family History Guide. and share them with others, either individuals or family history centers and so forth. You can use the Family History Guide in your local ward, states, and so forth to achieve family history goals with adults, youth, Sunday school, high priest group leaders, high council, you name it. It is amazing what people have come up with. We get emails all the time of people using the Family History Guide in very imaginative and effective ways in their church responsibilities, callings, and opportunities. And it's terrific. The Family History Guide is built to be flexible, so there's a lot of things you can do with it. You can customize courses. There's a whole training and course catalog, of course, that is very helpful. Firesides, fairs, conferences, training at family history centers and libraries. Full-time missionaries. This can be used as a very handy reference tool. One of the challenges with full-time missionaries is we know that a full-time missionary does not have the time, nor should they take the time, to be a genealogy coach. Their responsibility is not to help another person walk through all of the steps of becoming expert with family history research and so forth. However, family history can be a wonderful gospel and missionary tool. So what the full-time missionaries can do is they can be aware of the Family History Guide, know what it is, know how to point other people to it, maybe give a 1 minute, 30-second walkthrough of the features, and then tell the person, the investigator, the less active, or whoever it is, here you go, here's a wonderful tool to get you started with family history. And if you have any more questions, come and talk to our family history consultants in the ward, stop by our family history center, or would be happy to talk with you. We've actually had full-time missionaries in the field tell us that they've had some wonderful experiences with investigators by sharing the Family History Guide, because it gives them a tool that they can go off on their own, explore their family roots, get answers to their questions more easily, and follow a structured training and learning process. So in conclusion, Family History Guide has a lot of uses and many benefits. Be used by individuals, families, classes, wards, and so forth. It keeps people involved and engaged with family history in smaller doses. And it supports church efforts in family history with memories, research, indexing, collaboration, temple work, and so forth. So we take our relationship with FamilySearch in the church very seriously. We want to make sure that what we provide on the website is LDS standard, it is approved by FamilySearch, and that it brings success and enjoyment to those who use it. If we find anything that's in error or not appropriate, if a website changes or goes down or whatever, we are very quick to make the necessary changes so that the users have the best experience that they can. Our commitments. Keep the Family History Guide free. We do not plan on ever charging people to be able to use the resources in the Family History Guide. We want to keep refreshing the content and adding innovative features. As you know, the family history world is evolving. We stay up with it the best that we can and provide new and engaging content to keep people interested in family history. And represent the family history community, including individuals, families, wards, and stakes. Thank you. Appreciate your spending the time with me in this webinar to learn a little bit more about the LDS interests and topics that are connected to the Family History Guide. We love family history. Those of us at the Family History Guide that have been putting this together and evangelizing it and helping other people find it. We love it, and we are grateful for your efforts in spreading the word with the Family History Guide. If for nothing else, to see the joy that comes into people's lives when they discover their roots and when they discover that they actually can do family history. It's not overwhelming. it's enjoyable, and it can be a life-changing experience. Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Bob. If there are any questions, please write those into the questions box, and we will make sure we get those answered for you. This would like to remind everyone this webinar has been recorded, and we will post it onto our website later, and um, will be posted onto the Family History Guide as well. So you can go to the recording and come back and watch it again if you missed something, or if you just want to share it with some friends, that'd be great as well. It looks like we do have one question. Donna Austin asks, where do we get brochures?
Okay, do you want me to go ahead and answer that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay, so Donna, if you go to the intro section in the Family History Guide, use that drop-down menu. There is an option that says Videos Brochures. And if you click that link, you will just scroll down a little bit. There's a section called Brochures and Flyers. And you can go there and you can print out. It's a PDF. You can print out copies of it, or if you want the professional trifold high gloss brochures, you can order those at a ridiculously low price from the Family History Guide as well.
Okay, yeah, and if you have any trouble finding that, you can. I think it's in another one of the webinars that he's done. He's showed that in particular as well. Um, well, thank you very much for
Right,
joining
and we
us
also
today.
have a search feature. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say we also have a search feature on the web where you can look for that. There's also a topics link in the more section that you can use to just alphabetically look for a topic as well.
So Donna also asks again, she says, what was meant by vaults?
Oh, the vault is a section of the Family History Guide where we put extra articles and video links. So they're not in the primary position, but if you wanted to know a lot more about sourcing or about Scottish research or whatever the topic is, you could go to the vault and have a lot of fun just digging through extra articles and videos about the particular topic.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the questions, Donna. Those are always great questions. Well, we thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time.
Thanks.